Hi, I want to take a look at a Rook endgame today, and in this position I was playing white against D Stojic in the Box Hill Chess Club Autumn Cup 2006. D is a very talented player whom I've played against many times before, and in this position we had just played over 60 moves, and I'd been trying to win a Rook endgame for a little while, and here my opponent played King E5, attacking my pawn on F5. Here I did some calculation, and I thought that my rook would be faster than his pawn after King B8, so eventually black will have to sacrifice his rook for my pawn, but he will be able to take the F5 pawn. But here I thought my rook would be able to stop his king before the king and the pawn get down to the queening area. So I played King B8. Black played King takes F5. He doesn't have much choice. I made a queen. He played Rook takes A8, check, King takes A8. And here my opponent played King E4, which surprised me. I'd only looked at King G4 in my calculations, and here I saw that after King B7, F5, King C6, F4, King D5, F3, Rook F7, King G3, King E4, F2, King E3, and the king gets back just in time, and the rook will capture the pawn next move and white wins. However, my opponent played King E4, a move which I had missed, and the point of this move is that it covers some key central squares that prevent white's king from coming near the black F pawn. In hindsight, this move was rather obvious, but in my calculations I'd forgotten the critical difference that this move would have made in the difference in that it controls these extra central squares. And in his endgame works, Grandmaster Carsten Mueller refers to covering these key central squares as a body check, where you prevent the opponent's king from helping out with the rest of his army. Anyway, here I couldn't see anything better than to play Rook H4 check. White can also play Rook F7, F5, King B7, F4, King C6, F3, King C5, King E3, King C4, F2, King C3, King E2, and white is just a bit too slow, and black will make the queen, and the game will be a draw. So I ended up playing Rook H4 check, King E3, Rook H3 check, King E4, King B7, F5, King C6, F4, King C5, F3. And now, seeing that the pawn couldn't be stopped, I decided just to end the game early by playing Rook takes F3, King takes F3. And a draw was beyond doubt here. And looking upon this game, white was quite close to stopping black's pawn. So I wonder if you saw any way for white to gain an extra tempo compared to what I played in the game. In fact, five moves ago, I made a big mistake. Rook H4 check is actually a mistake. White can gain time by playing Rook E7 check, which is the only move that wins. And in fact, my opponent pointed this out to me after the game, much to my horror. And here, white wins in all variations. So the point of this move is that black's king will either have to go in front of the pawn, which means he's wasting time because his king will have to move out of the way again in order to push the pawn, or his king will move onto the d file when white will attack the pawn again and force the king to waste another move going to e5. And this is the critical difference between Rook e7 check and just playing Rook f7 straight away, when black can immediately push his pawn. So, sorry, Rook e7 check. So here white wins, whether black plays King f4, and black will be wasting time because his king's in front of the pawn. King b7, f5, King c6, King g3, King d5, f4, King e4, f3, Rook f7, f2, King e3, and white will capture the pawn next move. Black can also play King d5, and after Rook f7, now either King e5, king b7 f5 king c6 king e4 king c5 f4 king c4 king e3. It looks like black is pretty fast, but white actually catches up. King c3 f3 rook e7 check, and here black's king will be forced away from the center, so white's king will be currently black's king is blocking white's king from entering in, but after this check the king has to move away, and king f4 will lead to the same result, king d2. The black king has to move away, and then white's king can come closer to the pawn, and in fact he can stop it easily now after the moves king g3 or even king g2, king e3, sorry, rook f7, and now if black plays f2, king e2, and the pawn is stopped. Alternatively, king g3, king e3, f2, rook f7, which is similar to what we had before. Instead of king e5, black can also play king e6, and it looks like black isn't losing time in this variation because the rook is attacked, so white will have to move his rook, but actually the king is one square further away from the back rank, so black actually does lose one move compared to the game continuation. So rook f8, f5, king b7, king e5, king c6, f4, king c5, king e4, king c4, king e3, king c3, f3, and again we have this key idea of playing rook e8 check, which forces the black king onto the f-file. So black had no other option. He, apart from moving his pawn, he could also have played king f3, but doesn't do much. After king d3, king g3, sorry, king g3, king e4, and the pawn is stopped. So he didn't have much option but to push his pawn and allow this check. And after rook e8 check, the black king is forced ahead in front of the pawn or behind the pawn. King f4, king d3, king g3, king e3, f2, rook f8, and white wins with the same idea as before. So the important lesson in this game is that time is extremely crucial when there is a pawn race, and a player must always be looking out for opportunities to gain extra time. Thanks for watching this video.